Warning. This video may contain graphic language, graphic violence, gross cartoon penises, and a whole lot of Pimpy the pimp-ass pimp showing motherfuckers what's up. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, yesterday I put out an interesting video. People are reporting about military exercises that are taking place. Different people were chiming in. I'd figure I'd reach out to you guys to see what you heard or what you're seeing and see if you can report back, because I'm just curious. There seems to be a lot of military activity in multiple cities. Now, we know that it's summertime, and in the summertime, you usually get a lot of the reserves out there doing all kinds of military drills, but some of the people were commenting on this, and what they had to say was very interesting. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold, silver, or any other precious metals, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description, or just type in www.moneymetals.com/Pimpy. If you make a purchase when you follow that link, you will automatically be entered for a chance to win 10 free silver ounces. So get started today, and hopefully your stack will start to look like this real soon. So head on over, tell them Pimpy sent you. You can follow me over on other platforms. I do have my own group over on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. So head on over here and join us. It's free to do so. In here I do post updates if I should get on suspension from YouTube or get removed from YouTube and you want to know what happened to me, I'll let you know right here in this group. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and the cool thing about YouTube, if you come over here and you join and you find my channel, I got videos going back, I believe, a couple years. So if you want to see some older videos that I have on Nasera, gold, silver, cryptos, come on over here and join. Look me up and check out my videos. You can also find me on Odyssey. Catch me on Rumble. When I say that the links for all these are down below in the description, some of you don't know what I'm talking about. It's real simple. Just go down to the bottom right here of any of my videos. See this? This is the description. Hit show more. And there are all the links to all the platforms I just spoke about. So if you do want to head on over to Money Metals, just click it. And there you are. So come on over. Join us. I look forward to having you. Now, as I stated, there were some weird things that were happening around the same time. We had Joe Biden saying that he heard a storm was coming. And of course, I couldn't help but jump on it because it's kind of funny he said that. But then I seen Melania Trump put on there, storm is on the way. And I said, okay, it could just be a quiddinky, could be nothing. But given all the attention to the term storm and what it's related to, I would assume that Melania knew making a comment like this would definitely rattle the cages of a lot of people. So I couldn't help but comment on it as well. I thought it was just kind of weird that these things all fell together. And next thing you know, we see military personnel all over the place. So let's go through, see what we have. Alan says, I live a couple of miles from a small army base east of Austin, Texas. And a big helicopter that carries equipment just flew over my house, headed towards the base. It's strange because I can't remember the last time anything flew by at night. So there is a lot of strange activity happening. I was listening to a Marine talk about the drills that they do and how reserves will come out there and join them during drills. He had mentioned the fact that it would be something really rare to see a tank drive through the middle of a city just because of all the wear and tear a tank puts on the streets. They usually send them over on trucks or on trains, or they break them up into pieces and then send them over to where they need to be and then reassemble them. To have a fully loaded tank cruising down the street is not regular at all. Karen says 6 days ago, 5 fighter jets conducted military flight operation from the old Peace military base in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. There were extremely loud jets we have never ever seen before. This airport was an old SAC base which always has flights in and out because it still brings troops home from overseas here. Air shows are conducted here with the Blue Angels, but we have never seen these black jets before. When asked who are they, someone said NATO jets. I was astonished. Not sure if they were true, but we couldn't see any military markings on the jets. Peace is the longest runway in the East Coast. Pimpy, what does this all mean? I have no idea what you are getting at. Can you please explain? Well, if you don't follow the 17th letter movement, then you won't understand some of the references in here. But there's this belief that Trump and the good guys are trying to take over the country and reestablish our constitutional republic. We would know when this is going to happen. There'd be some announcements taking place. That's where the whole reference to the storm comes. That's what I was referring to. But there are a couple of other things that I brought up a while back that I was concerned about. The fact that we are seeing more and more military age Chinese nationalists coming across our border being released into the streets. And when you have somebody like Governor Abbott loading them up on buses and shipping them out to different locations, people are starting to get concerned, especially the military, because the numbers are increasing. Now, if I was China and I wanted to try to weaken and hit the United States from within, that's one way I would do it. I would just send my military personnel into the United States, have them go through the border, because Biden's letting not only Chinese nationalists through the border, but also terrorists. They found like 200-something people on our terrorist watch list. These are just the ones they caught. So, of course, I'm concerned. Is Biden the kind of guy that would just turn our country over to China? Yeah, I think so. I think he's that bad. Are the Democrats the kind of people? Yeah, I do. I believe they're that bad. Are there some Republicans? Yeah, there's some RONA Republicans that would probably enjoy us being turned over to a communist country so they can install the kind of communist government that they want. I really do believe that. Egypt, focus on aircraft. Each is different. You don't have an F-117 stealth fighter, B-52, or C-130 cargo plane ever fly together so close in any mission. Amount of helicopters is a significant part. They can carry lots of troops. But somebody told me that it comes from a video game. As a matter of fact, down here you can see, Pimpy, the Egyptian footage is a clip from apparently a video game called Arma 3, which I think was released in 2021. Some have debunked it in the comment section. Personally, I don't game, so I don't know. Might be something to look into if you could be bothered. No, I don't mind looking into it because I'm curious. Well, I'd read somewhere that it might come from a video game, but nobody's been able to prove it. So let's see if we can see it ourselves. Okay, so if you look at it, yeah, I mean, there's parts where I can tell it's a video game and other parts where I'm like, yeah, it does look a little convincing. So let's take a look at the scene of the Egyptian one that I put in the video and make a comparison. Being detected. Now this is in Egypt. Listen to the air raid signal. Okay, so part of my comment on this ARMA 3 movie you've seen, it might be a different version of it. When you look at it, there are times where you can tell it definitely comes from a video game. But the other thing you'll notice is when a video game shows invasions, they usually have like music in the background. Now again, I'm not saying this isn't from a video game, but I'm just noticing the differences. You usually have music in the background and they'll jump from scene to scene like close-ups further away. That one that we just saw in the video, there's no music in the background, and you actually hear people yelling and screaming about it. And there was no cutting back and forth between close-ups and further away. It's just one long continuous scene. So if it is a video game, they've done one hell of a job. But when I look at video games clips, usually there's music in it. It will flash back and forth between close-ups and other scenes that are taking place versus just one long continuous scene. That's just my opinion on it. It definitely looks convincing. Phil Galowski told us 3+ weeks ago to look out for increased military presence all over the United States city. And here we are. The storm is coming for sure. While there's without a doubt an increased presence of military everywhere. Now, the interesting thing is listening to when real military vets chip in and comment on it. They're saying, look, this particular case, this is normal for drills. This is what you usually see. But why this is different this time is because I noticed this. And to me, that's very uncommon. Like they said about the tanks driving down the streets in the cities. It has happened before, but very, very rarely do the tanks fully loaded go driving down a city street just because the tanks tear up the asphalt. And so the cities don't like that. And the person who was commenting said, in his opinion, this is not normal. Not that I want to cause panic or anything, but people should at least be on alert and be aware. Every summer there are military exercises like this. Melania's storm tweet is very interesting, though. Yeah, that's what I said, and here's why. Given the things that are used by the 17th letter movement, she has to be aware of it. And maybe it's just a quidinky dink, and she was just commenting on the clouds. But I do think it's very strange that she used those choice words. Joel said, I sent you something the other day, Pimpy, regarding some curious stuff going on. There's a lot happening these days that just don't make sense. Well, here's my feeling on all this. Trump is a threat to this New World agenda. If you were not sure, you should be by now. By the way he is being attacked, by the way that these people are retrying him on the same cases that he's already been to court for, and these court cases were dismissed. All they do is take the charges and find new ways to attack him with the same old charges. And they don't care if what they're doing is unconstitutional or if it's unfair. They're going to keep doing this to try to keep Trump out of office. I think what they're starting to realize is that's not going to happen. That the more they do this, the more support he gains. And it's likely, unless they find another way to rig this election, it's likely he's going to be in office. And trust me, if he gets in this time, I have no doubt that he's learned his lessons from what he went through the first time. And it's going to be a whole different presidency the second time. And I don't think they want that. He was a major setback to this movement. So would it make sense that these people are panicking and they're like, well, look, whatever's going to happen, we need to pull the trigger now. Whatever false flag event, we need to make it happen now. They need to do whatever it takes. I have no doubt that the media is going to help them push a false narrative that they are planning right now. Pimpy, in my opinion, far as I'm the city, it's either two things: mass arrest or so-called cyber attacks, aka banks, bail-ins. So they're doing just like China, deploy the National Guard and reserves to protect the banks. That's my opinion. It could be, but not all of them were reserves, is my understanding. That's why I like when military chime in on the comments or are there in a city. Some of them said, look, this particular group is not reserves. Again, this is just everybody's opinion. And people should be alert to what's going on. I live in San Diego County. Camp Pendleton had a lot of air activity yesterday. Yeah, Camp Pendleton, man, people have been saying, I'm not sure what's going on over here, Pimpy, but boy, howdy, Camp Pendleton has been extremely active lately. Now, my other thought is this. Our military is realizing that we are on the cusp of possibly going to war against China or China and Russia both. It could happen. Like I said, with Biden allowing all these Chinese nationalists to come across the border, and there's been over 2,000, how many soldiers will it take to start causing chaos in our country? How many soldiers, in your opinion, is it going to take for them to amass an army to start fighting within our country? 2,000 soldiers is a lot, but I say, look, if they show up in some place like Virginia or, North Carolina or Texas, that 2,000 isn't going to take very long for these good old boys to clear them out, in my opinion. In my opinion, all right? So if they start amassing around 10, 15, 20,000, well, that'll at least catch my attention. But if it gets up higher than that, then we really need to start pressing this White House about closing the borders. We should have done that a long time ago. Give me shelter, Rolling Stones. Lots of military actions going on here in Texas. Yippers. But what I heard a military gentleman say did catch my attention. With these governors shipping all these illegals to different parts of the United States, don't be surprised if we find out that they're doing it with the purpose of dispersing the soldiers out so they could be ready, which would be really disappointing considering somebody like Abbott and DeSantis are respected amongst the people on the right. Then all of a sudden we find out that they're shipping soldiers everywhere and only made it look like they're trying to just ship immigrants out of their own state. Would be really screwed. Financial collapse will cause the natives to be restless, thus the military movement. Well, our Constitution doesn't allow for our own military to be in the streets of the United States. Then now the National Guard is allowed to be here. That's why when Jade Helm took place, people were up in arms because military personnel are not allowed to be doing drills in the United States at all. So the National Guard is one thing, but our actual military is something altogether different, and they separated them for that purpose. Love the warning up front, brother. No problem. I'm just saying, look, I'm not sure what's going on, but at least be aware of it. You know what I mean? Start cleaning your guns, start fixing your sights, start stocking up, doing what you need to do just in case. I'd rather be over-prepared and nothing happen than caught off guard to get my ass shot. Bill Mack, Egypt is from a video game, Pimpy. The folks under that exact post already debunked that. Okay, good. So then it is a video game is what we're hearing. So when I heard that was debunked, I was wondering if what they were saying was debunked was people claiming it was a video game. So I see what you're saying. You're saying that the Egyptian clipping is part of a video game. That scene has been debunked. I appreciate that. Pimpy, in 2018, Trump said that there is a storm coming. We are in the storm. Oh, we've been in the storm. It's not just a storm, but it's a storm. To be honest with you, I would have thought by now that the American citizens would have responded to everything that's going on in a much aggressive fashion than they are. Because when I was growing up through the 70s, 80s, patriotism was big. To hear these people talk like they do now, to see these new generation of people bashing our Constitution, bashing our founding fathers, removing statues like they did, that shit would not have been tolerated. You'd have done that in the 80s. You'd have had an ass whipping coming to you like you never had before. And what location are they flying to? If you're talking about the Egyptian one, they're in Egypt, and I wasn't sure where they were going, but we're finding out it comes from a video game. A storm code for war. Is that what it is? So a storm is code for war, which I should have known better because when I was in the Navy, right as I got out, it was Desert Shield. But a short time after that, I got a call from the military saying, although I have done my time in the military, I got to remember that I'm what's called inactive reserves, and at any time the government could call me back. They put me on 24-hour notice, which means I had to stay at home and stand by the phone to hear if I got called in. And that's when I knew something big was going to happen. So it went from Desert Shield to Desert Storm, which means we were in a war. In my opinion, they wouldn't have so many different air vehicles for a raid. Maybe they're preparing some sort of parade or show of strength to their people like Saddam did, or China or Korea does. Just too many different aircrafts for an attack. Yeah, we're finding out it's a video game, but I will say this. It's absolutely impressive the way the video game is. If you were to see that many vehicles in the air, then that means they are expecting heavy resistance through the air, heavy resistance on the ground, and they send the planes out to plow the field first. Usually we do a bombing campaign, and then we send the soldiers in. Thank you. Bring more. You are welcome. Yes, Pimpy, things are happening. Yeah, it looks like it, and I don't want to jump the gun. That's why I'm saying, hey, be alert, be aware what's going on. I'm not sure, but if you know, let us know. Looks like martial law. No, it looks like a bunch of ass whipping is what it looks like. 17 states. So yeah, that was the latest news, is that there were several states at the same time. Now look, the media has reported on some of the sightings saying that it's BS and that people are just jumping the gun. But unfortunately, our media has proven to be less than trustful. So it's really hard to know what the truth is. That's why we reach out to each other. I got to check with MonkeyWorks. Yeah, that's actually a great source. He will let us know. Your picture of Melania Trump didn't show the date. It was June 22nd, 2012. 2012? I don't think I see any date on there. That's another weird thing. Where do you see the date? Usually if there's a date, it's up here. I don't know why if there's a date, it's missing. That is kind of weird. If I'd have saw the date and it said 2012, I certainly wouldn't have brought it up. But if it is 2012, my apologies. Apparently it's an older tweet. I just don't see it on here. But I'll take your word that it is. There's no reason for me to doubt it. And VHS is not portrait format. I just noticed that it would be different quality if it was from Iraq. Babe, it's not Operation Trust. I don't know what it is, but it's not a Soviet operation. No, it's not a Soviet operation. But Operation Trust is something that was done during the days of the Bolshevikian. And I was making a comparison between the Operation Trust and the Q movement. I'll do a video and show you guys what I'm talking about, and you'll understand why I say that from time to time. World 3. You mean World War 3 or end of days here? Yeah, I don't want to jump the gun like that. I just think it's interesting that all the military are doing drills or are being seen in all the cities. And you can see people chiming in. And I'm sure some of them are purposely saying stuff to steer people up. And other ones are trying to debunk the truth from being told. That's the whole problem with everything that's out there. Is it's really hard to trust one another. So you really got to throw it out there and listen to what people have to say and hopefully give us feedback. Look, I trust putting a video out there and asking you guys for your input more than I do my damn media. That's for sure. I do realize there are trolls there. I do realize there are people who are going to do what they can to try to debunk it. Whatever it takes to get the truth. That's all that matters. Like I said, on my Twitter account, I'm not sure why the date's not on there for Melania Trump's post. But if it's from 2012, and if I would have saw that, I definitely wouldn't have reposted it. I just thought it was strange that it came out at the same time Biden said something about the storm, and all these people were reporting military actions at the time. So very interesting that they all came together. Like I said, it could just be one strange quidinky-dink. Anyways, I appreciate you guys chiming in. I just want to respond to your comment and let you know I appreciate it. That's it for now. I'm out.